On today's lesson, I'm going to show you guys a bold new strategy that you can use to visualize scale patterns going across the fretboard of the guitar, as well as a steaming hot lick that takes advantage of this concept. Check it out. Hey there kids, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. On today's lesson, I'm going to give you guys some ideas about reorganizing some of your scale patterns into easy to see 2-string 1-octave shapes that connect laterally across the fretboard, as well as show you guys a great alternate picking sequence that I made up in order for you guys to practice these things and get your picking skills mean. Before we get into the lesson, let's hear that lick again at stepdad speed. And as always, full tabs are available over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. Just search for hashtag Weekend Wankshop 250, find the tabs, and start shredding today. Downloadable tabs, bonus lessons, backing tracks like the short one used at the first of this video, and much more are available to everybody who supports my channel over on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Be sure to click the link in the video description, sign up today, and start reaping the benefits. Thanks. Okay, first things first, let's talk a little bit about the scale that I'm using in today's lick. It's the A minor scale, sometimes called the Aeolian mode if you want to be all fancy pants about it. But it's basically just the musical alphabet, okay? It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Those are all the notes that I'm using in this run, which travels from here to here. It's just the musical alphabet, okay? Now what you'll notice about that is that that scale is only 7 notes long, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then it starts over. So what this means is that if we arrange that scale in such a way that there's 3 notes on one string, A, B, C, and then 4 notes on the next string, D, E, F, G, that takes us through almost an entire octave of that scale, right? So check it out. A lot of the scale patterns that you learned for this might look something like this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, like that. 3 notes, 3 notes, 2 notes. What I'm suggesting is that you rearrange this so that it becomes 5, 7, 8, and then on the next string, 5, 7, 8, 10, okay? So it's kind of a 3 plus 4 arrangement of these notes. Now the great thing about that is that takes you through all 7 notes of the scale. And because of the organization of the strings on our guitar, what this means is that after you end up here at the 10th fret A string, your first finger is ready to restart all those same ideas on the 7th fret D, which is your A note again, the root note that you started on, just an octave higher. So whenever you do this, it puts you in perfect position just to restart that exact same idea and pattern, but from this A note. So check it out. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It felt just like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it's very easy to see, exact same pattern, just starting from this A note. And then from here, you're in position to restart this idea from the 10th fret B string. Now again, that's a little different than the first spacing that we had there. The B string always screws everything up pattern-wise. But basically what you're going to do here is to play 10, 12, 13, 10, 12, 13, and then 15 on the high E, okay? So now you have this. And then you're only one step away from the A note here in fret number 17, which is the next root note of the scale. So as you play through this, you end up playing a 1, 2, 3, 4 octave A minor scale pattern. And this will work with any other scale that you know too, you know? Basically every major scale, minor scale, mode, or anything like that, they're pretty much all 7 note scales. So you could rearrange any scale to work this way, like an F Lydian scale or something like that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In just these easy to see, repeatable shapes that span octaves across your guitar. And this is really important stuff to work on too, because it's going to get you envisioning how root notes for scales don't just happen on the E string, you know? I talked about that in that recent This Is Why You Suck at Guitar, You Don't Know the Major Scale video that I put up a couple weeks ago. It's episode 18 of that series, I think. Be sure to check that one out. It's really important to understand that you can find root notes to scales anywhere, you know, and start playing the ball where it lies. Don't always search for that low E string to tell you where the root note is. If you're here on the fretboard, you need to be able to see that this A note is a viable root note for an A minor scale, not just always trying to think about what's happening on the big guy. So this alternate picking sequence that I came up with to utilize this 3+4 scale pattern concept is kind of a combination of two of my favorite picking sequences that I use all the time. One of them is what I call straight sixes, which is just where instead of playing 3 notes in a row, you play them twice. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, with alternate picking, that's down, up, down, up, down, up. That is what I call straight sixes, which is one of the easiest to play shreddy sequences you can do on the guitar. And I'm combining those straight sixes with an Yngwie style ascending threes thing across a single string. You've heard him do this in a million solos. Okay, so I'm starting off here playing that A, B, C, 5, 7, and 8 on the low E string with that straight sixes combination. Straight up alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up. Next, whenever I get to the A string, again, this is where the 4 notes live, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I'm doing is I'm looking at this as 2 different sets of 3. There's this set, and there's this set. Okay, so there's 5, 7, 8, and 7, 8, 10. So I'm not just looking at it as 4 notes, I'm looking at it as 6 notes, okay? And that's exactly how I play this part right here. I'm gonna play 5, 7, 8, and then using your first finger, jump up here to the 7th position and play the other half of the scale pattern, 7, 8, 10. So it's 5, 7, 8, 7, 8, 10. It's important to do that position shift with the first finger. If you look at this on tab, you might think 5, 7, 8, 7, 8, 10. And you could do it that way, I suppose. I just like to put the first finger kind of doing all the important position shifting whenever I can, rather than asking my little finger to do that job, you know? And then you're in position to restart this idea from the A note that's on the 7th fret D string. Again, that's a root note just like that one is. So play the same ideas. You're gonna play your A, B, C thing 2 times in a row. Okay? And then we're gonna jump here to the G string and play that same concept where we're gonna play 7, 9, 10, and then using our first finger, jump up to 9, 10, 12. Same lick, just in a different octave is all. And from here, it's just lather, rinse. And then from here, you're just gonna lather, rinse, and repeat, starting from the A note on your 10th fret B string. Now, I switched to just using my first, second, and third fingers right here. If you're more comfortable using 1, 3, and 4 like you have been in the other octaves, go for it. But I'm not gonna call the pinky police on you if you do like what I'm doing and just use your first, second, and third fingers. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the 10, 12, and 13 on the B string twice in a row before we jump down here to the high E string, and we're gonna play 10, 12, 13, 12, 13, 15, okay? And then I finish this up just by jumping up a whole step and hitting that root note on the 17th fret high E string, that high A note. So now you have the same lick but in 3 different octaves. Second octave, third octave. Now whenever I came up with this 12-note long pattern, I originally envisioned it as sextuplets or 16th note triplets. That means that for every beat that goes by, you're playing 6 notes on top of it, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. But just because I originally wrote it with that sextuplet feel in mind doesn't mean that that's the only way that you can use it. You can also play this exact same lick as 16th notes, meaning 4 per beat, and it would work out evenly over 3 beats worth of music, because 3 beats with 4 notes each equals 12. The same as 2 beats with 6 notes each equals 12.
Science.
Whichever way you choose to rhythmically group this sequence together, just be sure to practice it with consistent alternate picking. Just down, up, repeat. If you're doing this right, you're going to be starting every string on a downstroke and ending every string on an upstroke. If you ever find yourself like starting a string on an up, it means something has gotten squirrely in there. It should always be starting with a down, ending with an up. down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So be sure to pay really close attention to those entry and exit pick strokes. It'll keep you on track. And I want to tell you guys too, anytime you're practicing any kind of fast alternate picked sequence lick like this, one habit I want you to get in is always emphasizing the downbeat in a lick. Be your own metronome, is what I tell my students. So in other words, you don't want to practice this making every note completely monotone and sounding the same like this. For one, monotone is boring. And also too, whenever every pick stroke feels exactly the same in your right hand, it's really easy to lose track of where you are in the beat, especially when you're playing like 6 across the beat at 100 BPM like you are with this lick. It's really easy to lose track when every pick stroke feels exactly the same. But if your pick attack sounds more like this, where I'm really emphasizing the first note of each of those groupings, it becomes almost impossible to lose the groove and your hand sync is gonna be way better. So if you're practicing this lick as the sextuplets, you know, the sixes, be sure to really dig into that first note that's on each string, okay, whenever you play this. Don't let it be monotone, let it be really digging into that first note of the sixes, and I guarantee your hand sync is gonna be way better and you'll just sound way groovier right away. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to take that 3+4 concept and apply it to all of your other favorite scales and modes and see what you come up with. Let me know what you do with it in the comment section below, or tag me on posts on Instagram or whatever you want to do. Really handy way to start organizing your scales and visualizing them going laterally across the fretboard. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for new content coming at you every single week. Follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars, and if you like what you see here on my channel and want to support it, be sure to join my Patreon page over at patreon.com/BenEllerGuitars. Well guys, it's been fun as always, but it's time to get away from the internet and go practice. Less clicking, more picking.